Most modern meditation advice tells you to follow your breath from the moment you sit down until the moment you get up. But if you maintain that focus for an entire session, you anchor your attention entirely to the physical surface. Breath observation is actually meant to be a temporary tool. It operates as a short-term stabilizer, designed specifically to be discarded once it does its job. Think of your breath like the booster rockets on a space shuttle. They provide the initial thrust to get you off the ground, but if you hold on to them, you can never achieve orbit. To make that ascent, we use a 4-step transition protocol. Before you even sit down, you must pre-select your mind-based practice, whether that is a specific mantra, a visualization, or a mental inquiry. Defining this mental destination in advance gives you a clear landing zone. Without a specific place to shift your focus, you will inevitably cling to the breath, turning what should be a doorway into a bottleneck. Step 1 is establishing what we call diffuse awareness. This is the starting posture for your internal focus. The most common mistake during this phase is locking your attention onto a single, narrow physical point. You want to avoid intensely tracking the air right at the tip of your nose or the back of your throat. Instead, let your focus wash over the entire respiratory tract, feeling the space from nose to lungs as one connected region. You are not tracking the exact volume or speed of the airflow. You are just lightly sensing the overall region. If you catch your focus sharpening back into a tight laser, simply zoom out. Let the edges of your attention blur again. Keeping this field wide prevents your mind from obsessing over microphysical sensations. It gives your nervous system the exact space it needs to achieve initial stabilization. Step 2 requires you to completely relinquish control of the breathing process itself. While you are sitting, you must not alter the natural rhythm of your diaphragm. Zero interference. When you put the body on autopilot, your breathing might become erratic or uneven. This is a normal, expected reaction as the body figures out its own rhythm. If you want to train your breath capacity, like practicing box breathing, do that while walking or standing, outside of your meditation session. Attempting to manage the breath while sitting anchors your mind entirely to physical mechanics, directly blocking your access to deeper mental states. Step 3 is recognizing when the breath has done its job. This initial stabilization has a finite, measurable endpoint. First, your racing thoughts settle down into mental quiet. Second, physical breathing shifts into shallow, subtle waves. Finally, the act of paying attention itself feels dense, as if focusing requires extra effort. When you hit these 3 signals, you have reached the threshold. If you continue observing the breath past this point, the method stops being helpful and becomes the primary obstacle to your progress. This brings us to step 4, executing the transition. You must abruptly sever all conscious awareness of your physical inhalation and exhalation. Take 100% of your internal focus and move it away from the body, shifting it directly onto your pre-selected mental practice. This is the exact moment you engage your mantra repetition, your visualization, or your subtle mental inquiry. Your mind is now completely anchored by an internal structure, rather than relying on the external sensory data of air moving through your nose. Completing this transition is the true threshold of meditation. You move out of basic physical relaxation and begin active, high-level mental cultivation. By treating the breath strictly as a short-term stabilizer, you stop fighting to stay at the surface and finally walk through the doorway into deep practice. For your next session, write these 4 steps: diffuse awareness, autopilot, drop signals, and transition on a sticky note and place it right next to your cushion. You no longer have to push against a bottleneck. Instead, you can drop the boosters at the exact right moment and ride that momentum the rest of the way up.